All right. My name is Jared Hatch. I am currently working as the Deputy Director for External Coordination for Appropriations at the Department of Energy. It's a big old mouthful, but it's a really fun job and I love it a lot. Essentially, my job is to be the connecting link between the Department of Energy and the appropriation subcommittees in Congress for both the House and the Senate. So I spend a lot of time talking with people in Congress and then talking with folks in the Department of Energy and making sure that everyone's on the same page about things. Studied political science at BYU, Idaho. I graduated in summer of 2016, and then I had a year in between, and I went and did a graduate program at BYU. I did a Master of Public Administration there. From there, the Department of Energy has a big portion of the department is the National Nuclear Security Administration, and they recruit pretty heavily out of grad school programs. And so they came and offered a free lunch at BYU, and that I went in for the free lunch and came out thinking, oh, this is really interesting. Started reading up on the Manhattan Project and just kind of the nuclear weapons history of the nation, and then applied for their fellowship. Did that for a year, signed on as a Fed after that, worked in their budget office for a year, and then transitioned to kind of this congressional liaison role. So I was a liaison for about 3 years, 3.5. And then I went over to the Office of Nuclear Energy within the Department of Energy, worked there as a senior advisor to the assistant secretary for about a year, and then was asked to come back and lead this congressional affairs office, which I started doing in about February. So of this year.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's me in a nutshell.
So did you ever have to do the whole USA Jobs thing where you like tailor your application to a very specific job description?
Absolutely. I will say the thing about most of the USA Jobs applications is that they usually know who they want already, right? So it really was the times that I've applied on there is because I had someone tell me, "Hey, we really want you to apply for this job. Go in and apply and do a good job, and hopefully you'll make it through to the list of candidates that we can interview," kind of thing.
And so your entry into the federal workforce was through the fellowship.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. I've actually heard that's a pretty common thing that people who get into the federal workforce, they've started in some kind of a fellowship or an internship, and
Mhm.
then they say, we've created a position for you, and this is the one you apply to, and then this is how we want you to apply for it.
Yeah, I think internships and fellowships truly are the bread and butter of getting into the federal government. I don't see any other way that's really effective because I think that's the only way that you can get to know people and build the relationships that then they know they can trust you with more responsibility and offer you a job. Because I think everyone's worst fear is to hire someone that they don't know based off of a couple interviews. And like the federal process interviews are pretty limited in what you can like really dig in and like ask questions and get to know someone. So I think the internships and fellowships are really, really helpful.
So when you graduated from BYU Idaho, we didn't have the public policy and
Mm-mm.
administration degree yet, right?
Yeah,
And
that's true.
this is in the works right now. I think within a year's time we're going to have this approved where it's a 3+2. You do 3 years at BYU Idaho and then you do 2 years MPA at BYU, and that just that
Cool.
yeah, that first year of your MPA program, we just count that towards public policy and administration degree. So students can like just go right into it from BYU Idaho. Would that have helped you?
I I did fast track anyways, so
Okay.
I I did graduate BYU Idaho in 3 years, but I guess it probably would have helped me go even a little quicker, so that could have been helpful. But
You wouldn't have had that
I
gap
I
year
I
maybe?
love the idea, and I think that's a really natural. I had always wondered why not more people transitioned from the BYU Idaho program to the Master of Public Administration program at BYU because it's. I mean, for me, it just made a lot of sense if I wanted to actually do a job in government using political science. I probably needed a master's degree to if I was gonna feed myself and provide for myself. So
Yeah, so
I
let's talk about that a little bit because a lot of students wonder, should they go to graduate school? Should they not go to graduate school? It sounds like you say absolutely if you want a job in the federal government, you better get a master's.
Yeah, and I don't I mean, there's so many paths, but for me, it definitely was the path that worked because the fellowship that I did required a master's degree. So I think it does just open up additional opportunities that you don't have otherwise. I know there's a lot of people out here that out of undergrad will go and get a job on like the Hill or something, work one of those jobs for a while, make a lot of the connections that are really important, and then will do like a master degree while they're working on the Hill. So I've definitely seen people do that, but I do feel it's pretty easy to feel kind of like capped out at a certain point
Yeah.
with the undergrad degree. Yeah.
So I have two different ways I want to go from what you said, but the first I want to just kind of touch on the MPA program because they're pricey, and I think students oftentimes are like, "Here's this cheaper online version that I can do from
Uh,
anywhere." I don't know how much. I think BYU is less expensive, and often they offer scholarships. Like
yeah.
a student who's thinking, "Okay, MPA," what advice would you give them for selecting an MPA program?
It's a great question. I do think there's some value just for having the degree, period. And and people look at where it's from, but I don't think they look as much as people sometimes think they do. To me, so I think there's value in that respect. On the other hand, I think one of the biggest takeaways and values that I found from my master's degree was just the people that I met and interacting with them and the collaboration and working with those professors in person. I think it's kind of like I don't know, like BYU Idaho. I loved how close I was able to be with professors, and I don't feel like a lot of other undergrads get that experience. I feel like master's degree has kind of continued that. That was something I really loved about a master degree as well.
Well, and
Yeah.
the Department of Energy isn't going to take you to lunch if you're doing an online MPA, right?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So some MPA programs have developed cultivated relationships with agencies where they say we like your graduates, and so they'll come out to those schools to recruit, and they don't go to every school to recruit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Here's the other question I have. So many students at BYU Idaho would love to work in Washington D.C., and it just seems like a path that there's no way to get from Rexburg, Idaho to DC. One way I think to get the connections is to do an MPA and to do a fellowship like you did. What are other ways you've seen people develop the connections they need in order to get a job in DC?
Internships, 100%. I a little more about my path because when I was still at BYU Idaho, I applied for some internships. It's funny, I can trace back basically my entire career trajectory to one decision I made to go to like a religious liberty brunch in Idaho Falls, and I went to this brunch, and so I guess all my career stuff is just food based, really. But I went to this brunch and there was somebody there from church public affairs that worked in the Salt Lake office. And I had heard that there was like a Washington, D.C. office. And I applied for, so I asked him about internship opportunities and he got me in touch with the people in the DC office. I applied for their internship, thought I nailed the interview, didn't get it. But then they forwarded the New York City Public Affairs Office for the church was looking for someone still, and for whatever reason, they didn't have a lot of applicants that year, and so the DC office forwarded my resume to them. I interviewed with them, thought I botched the interview, and then they asked me to go out there. So that was huge just for me getting out to the East Coast, I think, because then we came down to work with the DC office for a couple events, and I was able to just go check out different organizations and call up different think tanks and stuff and say, "Hey, like I'm interested in internship programs. Who can I talk to and meet? I'm in town these days." And that helped me just to kind of start getting momentum and getting to know people. So then I had an internship that ended up happening from that with the Heritage Foundation, and in the midst of the MPA program, I went and did an internship with the State Department. And while I was there, I also like reached out to folks at the Department of Energy and did a bunch of interviews just to get to know people. And I really think that helped a lot. So I would say find someone you know that's in the DC area, come visit, and then just literally just find contact information for any of the organizations you're interested in and just tell them you're interested in internship opportunities. I think that's really easy. Like, you got to
Yeah.
get out here, but I think you can really do it.
Yeah, what you described is called, I think I would describe that as networking 101, right? But I think a lot of people think that I can just put a LinkedIn profile out there, or I can like look around web pages and look at internet sites and apply for internships online. Is there something different about in-person contact with people you're trying to network with?
I absolutely believe that. I don't think someone can know. I think someone can look for red flags on your LinkedIn profile, but I don't think they can get a sense for if they really trust and want to work with you. And I think when you meet people in person, you can get kind of that gut sense of if this is someone you want to work with.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to when you were at BYU Idaho. Are there things that you wish you would have done differently at BYU Idaho, or things you think everybody should absolutely do?
Hmm. I feel like I was a little like go 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 all the time, and maybe I should have taken more of a breath.
I know you're a
I feel like
go-getter, no doubt about that.
I feel like BYU Idaho is just a lovely place with a lot of lovely people, and I think just taking a beat to appreciate the people that are around you at BYU Idaho is a really I think that's the advice I would give.
Any classes you wish you would have taken, or any things you say you should avoid
Uh,
this?
there are a lot of classes I really loved. No, I don't think I have any regrets in that department.
Good. That makes me happy.
Yeah, I lots of good memories from classes.
Did you ever go to the career center or anything like that?
Uh, I don't remember if I did.
Yeah, that's okay. I try to like in this class that we teach, we like do plugs for the career center. So if anybody's like, I love the career center, then we like to. But so many
Give a
people,
little plug for him. Yeah, I don't think I have a good testimonial.
but especially from like your time, maybe it wasn't as strong back then. I don't know, but there are a lot of people that are like, no, I never went to the career center.
Yeah,
So yeah,
sounds
no
like it could
problem.
be a good resource.
Yeah. Anything else you want to say? Anything you want to share with students about what they should, shouldn't do?
I think I'm thinking back to memories of, like, class experiences that kind of stuck with me and have translated to what I do day to day now. And, obviously, my job is very people-focused and very collaborative, and so I think a lot about kind of the simulations that we did in different classes that really forced you to develop your soft skills and being able to read the room, know what people were thinking, what their priorities were, why they might be for or against something. I think all those skills are really important, and being able to communicate your objectives in a way that resonates with people that might have slightly different objectives than you. 'Cause, I mean, that's literally my job just every day is sitting between Congress and the department and trying to help them work together and understand what the priorities are from the other branch of government. I also think about some of, like, the writing assignments that we had, especially the ones that forced me to be really concise, and I remember Brother Smith did, like, this 1.5 page, like, memo you had to write, and it had to be, like, really tight, and, like, you had to kinda take these really complex ideas and parse them down to something simple, and that's another thing I use all the time, both writing wise, because most of my writing is emails, right? Tons and tons of emails, and then memos, talking points for Department of Energy leadership, for the secretary and other leaders. And I think being able to take complex ideas and distill it down to here to a bullet point or even is a really, really valuable skill for at least my. Did you freeze?
Awesome. I
Oh, there
lost
you
you
go.
for a second, but it won't matter. The software catches it all.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then I think that's all, Jared. Thank you so much.
Okay. It's great to see you. And I see
Yeah.
your Real Madrid scarf up there. Are you ready for World Cups?